Hey, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchese and welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am so excited that you are here with us. Today, we've got a very interesting and very hot topic right now. And I've got my good friend, Mr. Michael Bretthauer, joining us today. Michael, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Glad to be here, Jason. Glad to be on the show again and your office this time instead of at the home office.
Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit more out now, especially with some of the things dying down, and we're starting to get out and about more, and we're looking at properties. So that's some more stuff that's going to be coming. Make sure you stay on until the very end because we've got some exciting news that we're going to be sharing with you, and I don't want you to miss it. So make sure you stay on. And for today's show, one of the biggest things that a lot of people, especially brand new wholesalers or individuals that are novices and they're really wanting to scale up their business, talking about virtual assistants. You know, how can you find them? What's the structure that you need to do with them? But let's do this first, Mike. Why don't you kind of explain, since you handle a lot of that within our business, let's talk about that. What is a virtual assistant?
And to answer that, I would say first what a virtual assistant is not, and they are not somebody that is going to do stuff for you. And they're not a full-time employee either. A virtual assistant is just like it says in the name. They're an assistant. They assist you with getting tasks done. So, you know, when you bring an employee into your business, right, when you hire somebody up, there's a general a period of time where you got to train them up and they got to learn how to handle different aspects of working at your business. Now, that means not just, you know, whatever job they've been hired to do. Like, even if you hire an acquisitions manager, you have to train them to do more than just learn how to talk to people. They have to learn your systems. They have to learn your processes. They have to learn if they're checking in, if they have to come to an actual office. They have to learn the procedures for that. There's a whole line of things that come into hiring an employee. A virtual assistant, however, is an easy way to get somebody to help you get tasks done within your business. They assist you in getting tasks done. You hire them, and usually virtually online. You hire them online. You talk to them and communicate to them, even before this, you know, pandemic stuff, all through, you know, video conferencing, mostly Zoom or Skype calls, and you give them a specific line of tasks to do, whether it's sorting data, whether it's scraping lead information, whether it's creating a logo or a video intro, basically a simple task. So like, you wouldn't hire an employee to say, hey, I need a logo created. That's not somebody you'd hire an employee for, but a virtual assistant can do that. But they take it a step further, and just like with data formats and data sorting and lead scraping and putting information together, even sending out automation stuff or creating that task stuff, you can hire a virtual assistant to do that. But if you hired an employee, obviously it becomes much more complex.
You know, one of the big things too, Mike, you bring up some really solid points. The big thing that you're needing to focus on here when it comes to virtual assistants is eliminating yourself from doing a lot of the day-to-day tasks that really aren't going to be the things that are making you money. You as the CEO needs to be the one that's in charge of bringing in revenue. That's your big thing, coming up with the new ideas. Maybe it's new marketing pieces. Maybe it's different ways to talk to sellers. Maybe it's just a ton of different things that you're going to be doing in the business. And one of the things that CEOs do is they always get overwhelmed. And one of the books that I would recommend that you read is the book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, and we'll have like a little picture right here of it, and we'll have an Amazon link for you below, so that if you have not read The E-Myth, I would highly recommend it. Or if you do what I do, listen to it on an Audible and listen to it at like a 1.5 or a 2.0 speed. That way you could get done with the book really quick, and if there's anything you missed, you could go over it again, and you could go through the book twice, as somebody probably going at regular speed would go through it once. So Mike, let's just kind of talk about this. Like, when do you feel like somebody in their business would probably need a virtual assistant?
Well, let's talk about this from a realistic standpoint, from where most people that are watching this are going to be coming from. You're an entrepreneur who's trying to create wealth through investing in real estate in some format. Okay, so coming from it from that standpoint, and you're on this YouTube because you want to learn a little bit more about stuff, and assuming that, you know, I think it's safe to assume you've probably gone to other avenues for education, be it other YouTube channels, you know, and other Facebook kind of stuff, which, you know, is great, or maybe you invested into some education at some level. But either way, once you've done that point, once you've created that, accomplished that step where hey, this is what I'm going to do. I've watched Jason Lucchese's YouTube channel, and I've watched Jason and Jason talk about, command me, if you will, what you should be doing. I need to go get these leads from, like we've talked about, Tax Delinquent, one of our most favorite lead sources of all time. We've talked about going to the county and getting these lead sources. And so you just follow along what we're talking about in the YouTube channel. Now, all of a sudden, you have this information. You're like, okay, I'm at that point where I need to get this information sorted, and I need to start, because like a lot of it comes in PDF formats. Like you get these little tasks that need to get done. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, because they're like, all right, well, I don't know how to do this, and I work full time, and I've got my family going on, whatever it is. I don't have time to sort this data. I don't have time to format it and put it and get the leads, skip trace and whatnot. Okay, right then and there, Jason, is the time and place where you say, hey, I think it's time I hire a virtual assistant, because I need to remove myself from these obstacles that are blocking me. I don't know how to do data entry, data filtration, all that stuff. I don't know how to skip trace information, or maybe I do, but I don't have the time that it takes to get this done. This is the key. That's the key words, like, hey, I need help. I think whenever you say I need help with this, it's like, can I just task this out to a virtual assistant, somebody who's happy to do this, for a few bucks an hour, and will have it done to me within 48 hours, so I can take myself to the next step, which is probably talking to the person. That you're not going to hire a VA for that, for the most part, unless it's a high paid, VA in the UA or in the US, or, somebody who's, you're paying a good money for, because generally that's, you got to, these are taking your leads, but for the most part, anybody coming to this channel is taking their own calls or setting up some sort of automation service, but they need to fill that gap.
Right. And, one of the big things, Mike, again, we're talking about here about removing yourself from your business. So you got to start really thinking about this as a business. If you've ever worked in corporate America, what does corporate America always have in store for you when you're beginning? You're getting involved with training. And normally what they do is they sit you down and have you watch some videos. And those are called like standard operating procedure videos. The same thing needs to apply within your business. You need to set up those standard operating procedures, because you don't want to spend a ton of time going through and training somebody every single time, because with virtual assistants, sometimes they're going to be come and go type of individuals. They'll come in, they'll do business with you for about 2-3 months, and then they'll probably leave. And we'll talk about some really good stuff here in just a second on how you could find those virtual assistants. So make sure you don't turn off yet. Don't tune away and go watch a cat video or something like that, because we've got some really good stuff on where to find those folks. But Mike, let's talk about standard operating procedure videos, because that's a really big thing when it comes to hiring somebody and making sure that we're devoting quality time to that individual, but we have them go through training videos that, hey, if we need to fire that person, replace that person, and plug somebody else in, we don't have to go through and start doing one-on-one training every single time. So can you break it down for folks on typically what an SOP video looks like?
Getting that thing kind of going, getting a SOP started is a good thing. It's good to get good at doing that right now. Get good at doing it early on, because the more you scale up your business, the more SOP procedures and, templates and videos you're going to make.
And one really quick, as you're diving into this, one of the things that I just want to tell you guys, and Mike could take it back over, is most of the stuff that you're going to do that a virtual assistant is going to replace is stuff that you're like mediocre at. You're good maybe at it, but you're not great. Because let's face it, there's things that I absolutely suck at in the business. And I could go find somebody that has like a master's degree or maybe even a doctorate, and they're just light years ahead of me. And I'm that doesn't bother me. I know that there's things that I'm just mediocre at or I'm just good at. And I could have somebody that, could come in at maybe a $4 to $6 an hour wage, and they could do it part-time, and they are amazing. They're beyond great at that specific task or job. And now I'm just handing it off and I've given it over to somebody else. So not to interrupt you, Mike, but I thought that was pretty important to kind of let folks know.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because think about it. When it comes to our real estate approach, what we're doing, again, I always pull it back to the tax strategy, because that's one of our favorites. It's laser focused, and that's kind of what a virtual assistant is for you. They're laser focused. When we get into when we're hiring these folks, what you can look at and how you can zone in on the right person to get the task done. Basically, it's like writing a computer program for the specific thing you need to get done and hitting go and letting it run. When it comes to creating SOP videos, you just need to break things down like you're talking to a 3-year-old, if I can say it like that. You know, I mean, literally, like, hey,
Yeah.
like when you create,
Absolutely.
when we create videos and we use Screencast-O-Matic or Loom, what do you use? Screenium?
I use ScreenFlow.
ScreenFlow.
And that's one of the things too. Once you start making these videos, some people might be like, well, how do I do these? You could do it from your phone, and then you could upload it right here to YouTube. And what you would do, so not everybody sees it, you can make a specific channel and have all of your videos unlisted. And so when somebody comes on and wants to, on your team from a virtual assistant standpoint, they'll see that standard operating procedure video from there. But what we do, Mike, is we create the video and then we go to a site called rev.com. And we have our whole entire video transcripted, because some of these folks might be in a different country. And what they could do is they could take that Word document and then they could have it translated over to their language as well, so that they understand it. Because they may speak really good English, but for them to understand things even clearer, we could give them that document, and then when they're watching the video, they're like, oh, okay, I understand that even better.
No, I'm glad you said that, because when you're making your videos and you're showing, because like we talked about those screen recording softwares, because a lot of stuff we do is, on the computer. So we're telling them, hey, you need to point here, click here. So when we say that, I actually say, hey, you're going to scroll halfway down, you're going to find this blue submit button, you're going to click on this button, because like you said, once we get it transcribed, you can't just say, hey, click here, because the transcription doesn't really tell them anything. But when you lay it out for them, not just visually, but then so they can read it, okay, I'm supposed to scroll halfway down, and then there's going to be this blue submit button, okay, and then I'm going to click on that, okay, I'm going to read that, see that on the screen. It's clear as day, okay? That breaks down all sorts of miscommunication I think most folks have when it comes to hiring a virtual assistant to do, more than just the data entry. Like, if you bring them in a little bit further, because here's the other thing about it, Jason. When you start making these videos, these how-to SOP videos, so they can come in and start doing these tasks, you're going to start finding VAs that you work really well with. And like you said, they're experienced and they're very good at what they do. And a lot of times they know how to do more than just the one thing. Now, you've honed in on them because you found the one thing you wanted them to do. But now that you've started showing them your SOP procedures, and they're kind of getting it, they're working well with you, things are working good, it's then you're able to say, hey, are you able to do this?
And once you have a list of things that you really need help with, the best thing to do from there is start making bullet points for each specific task. And then the thing that you want to do is you want to create a video. So either it's you using your phone, or the best thing that I recommend, if you have a Mac, you could use ScreenFlow for your computer. There's some free ones out there. Mike just said Screencast-O-Matic or whatever it's called.
Screencast-O-Matic, Loom.
Yeah,
and,
Loom. We've got some out there that you guys can use that are absolutely free. The one for PC is Camtasia, and we'll have some stuff popping up here letting you know what those are so that you could pick those up. But you would just record it. So if it's something like getting a list of probates, and going onto legacy.com and getting those types of leads, and then getting them skip traced, you would show that step by step. So if there's a specific task in your business that somebody could do virtually for you, maybe it is getting leads, maybe it's going on to Craigslist every day, maybe it's going on to Zillow every day, and showing them exactly how you want something set up. You really do have to think about it as you're teaching a kindergartner how to do something. So slightly older than 3 years old, to Mike's example there. But you really need to break it down step by step by step. So if you want something like, hey, in column A on my Excel spreadsheet, I want this, you need to let them know specifically on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you literally, like I said, got to show them on the screen and then describe it, because you're going to have it transcribed for them after the fact so they can read it and understand, yes, I'm looking for the yellow box that says, check in it, or whatever it is that you have, like, hey, source, I need to click on the box that says source, and you got to say, hey, there's a little arrow next to the word source, click that arrow, and then a drop down is going to appear with your selections. And then once you've identified whether this is a LinkedIn, whether this is list source, whether this is Craigslist, select that source, and then once you click out of that box, it'll be there. Like, I've literally taken a few minutes to explain something that you think is like, why would you take so much time to tell me to change the source to LinkedIn? Well, to you and me, that might sound simple, but to somebody who's working in, Bangladesh or Thailand or just wherever, somewhere doing their job, that might not be as exactly as simple as you might think. They're doing 100 different things for 100 different people in however many different countries you can think of. So, to think like, hey, what I'm doing is so easily explained and simple is a little naive.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people think too, they need to have an office and they need to have employees. If that's something you want to do, great. But do you need to have that? Absolutely not. So here are 3 websites that I'm going to give you right now. This is the big juicy part. And then I've got another juicy part here that we're going to be doing a giveaway here. So make sure you stay tuned. I know for this particular video, we've got a lot of content in it. So we're trying to get it in as quick amount of time and we're almost done here. So 3 top websites is hiremymom.com, especially if you're looking for folks locally in your area. If it doesn't really matter and you want folks specifically in the United States, hiremymom.com is where you could find folks in the United States. So you could find women in this particular area on that site. So it'll flash up here. You'll be able to see it. Next part is we've been using Upwork for a really long time. And these are going to be specifically for folks overseas. So this isn't going to be for like an office setting or anything like that. And even hiremymom.com, most of those individuals, those women do work from home. If they need to come in maybe once or twice a week, it depends. You just need to find out what the task is too. Most of the tasks can be done online, so they don't ever really need to come in. Next up, if you need small stuff done like logo work or extracting data from different sites, you could go to fiverr.com. That's a real solid one that you could go to. They could bang out a really nice logo within a very short period of time, and it's for like very small tasks that you could just get done and you're not looking to hire somebody for an extended period of time. Now here's the big one that we wanted to give away here on this video is the hiring, how to hire it. So we're going to go ahead and give you, as long as we get 50 comments and 50 thumbs up, we'll give this away. Mike's ad for hiring virtual assistants. So we're going to give you the title and the description of what Mike uses for Upwork. So you get that Word document. So how easy would that be for you? You could just go ahead and use the copy and paste technique and you could change it for what you're looking for. So we've got the title for you and we've also got the description of what you need to use, and that's going to help you out quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, guys, I really wasn't expecting to give away. He always does this to me. He says, hey, we're just going to, I don't even know that we're giving something away until he says, hey, the big reveal. When you guys get the big reveal, I'll let you know is when I get the big reveal, okay? Just so you know. But, you know, I'm glad you did that because I was going to bring up the hiring process for bringing on a VA. And it can be kind of a process at times. You know, I've had people like, especially with that are in our training right now, with our tax delinquent strategy that we have going on. A lot of people are looking to start hiring VAs because we got one student who drives trucks and he obviously needs a VA to get stuff done because he can do some of the stuff. He can take the calls that are appointed, but there's a lot of day-to-day tasks that need to get done. They're important to get done, but he needs a VA to get them done for him. Otherwise, his business is at a complete standstill. The hiring process for that, it can be a challenge. So this document that we're going to be giving away is going to have all the information that I use to start a hiring process with a VA, and you can alter that information because the way it generally works, and I'll give you kind of a background, and I'll put that on the document, I guess, how the process normally works.
And this is a big surprise, by the way. Mike literally had no idea that I was going to be bringing this up as a giveaway. So again, if you give us 50 likes, 50 comments saying, hey, I would love that document, because it is a big surprise for Mike. And as you guys saw on the video that we did with Jason Palliser not too long ago, you know, he just completely does not like odd numbers. So make sure you put down that you want the document and also leave an odd number for Palliser, because I'm going to show him the screenshot because he has no idea. He's not here right now. So I'll send him the screenshot because he loves seeing odd numbers, as Mike knows. But yeah, make sure you do that. And final things here, Mike's, before we wrap it up.
No, I mean, you know, if you think that you don't need a VA, then I would just ask yourself this question: is there something that's not getting done in my business that could be getting done, and I'm the reason that it's not I'm getting in my own way? Then you probably need a VA. Or if you think, hey, do I need a VA? And you're like, well, I can't really afford it right now. You know, well, can you afford not to have somebody doing these tasks that are not getting done? Another question you should ask yourself, because I mean, you're talking about when you write a check or not a check, when you send the pay request, Payoneer or PayPal, whatever, however, you know, you pay your VAs, and you spend $60 at the most. And then you realize, like, hey, I just saved myself hours worth of work. Yeah. Like, am I worth $60 an hour? I feel like I'm worth a little more than that, you know? because I would have been sitting here for 2 or 3 hours putting this information together. And yeah, I would have saved myself $60, but my time's a little, 3 hours of my day is worth a hell of a lot more than $60. So
yeah, absolutely. And most of these VAs, as you'll see, are anywhere between like $4 to $6 an hour. Now, if you go with somebody in the US, they're going to obviously be much more, probably $10, $11 at the minimum, depending on the task that you want them to do. A lot of people are always looking for people to do cold calling for them. But hey, this video has gotten long enough as it is. Hopefully, for those of you that are still on right now that watch this, drop a comment below, especially if you want that document. If you're looking to hire virtual assistants in your business, we've got you covered with the document, but we have to at least get those 50 comments. We also have to get at least 50 thumbs up. And if you are not already a subscriber, make sure you become a subscriber and hit the little notification bell if you haven't already done that. I'm sure Mike's got the special graphics popping up here right now. It's really very cool when you are a subscriber, because when you have that notification bell on your phone, you will get notified when we have new videos like this pop up so that you could start implementing right away. So thank you for your time, Mike. Thanks for being on today, and we will see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye now.